Saint Jerome was a priest, theologian, and a scholar. He was well known for defending the Church. He was a father of the Church as well as a doctor of the Church. Saint Jerome was a student, scholar, and a consultant to monks, bishops, and the Pope. He spent his life writing commentaries that are still read today, as well as being a scripture scholar and translating the majority of the Old Testament. His most known work is called the Vulgate, which is a translation of the Bible. This was used as the authentic text of the Church for a long time after being heavily edited. Saint Jerome was born in Stridon, a town that was located in what is now northern Italy around 347 AD. He was of Illyrian descent, an Indo-European tribe. He was sent to Rome to study and learn new languages. In Rome, he was taught Latin and Greek, and he began to explore theological concepts. After finishing his initial education in Rome, he began to travel the world seeking further education and influence. It was on these travels that he began to seek knowledge from priests, bishops, and the Pope. His travels spanned over the entirety of the Christian Empire. He traveled to many towns, staying in some for a couple of weeks and others a couple of years. On his travels, he met many other Christians that he became friends with and who followed him on many of his future journeys. He went on a long journey to Syria with many of the friends that he had met on his previous travels. His group faced many misfortunes. Many of them fell ill, including Saint Jerome, and 2 of them died. He was most well known for his writings, which included a large number of different styles and categories, as well as his translations and commentaries. His translation of the Bible, the Vulgate, is his most well-known work. The full translations took him around 20 years. He translated the Bible from Greek to Latin because many people didn't know Greek, yet Latin was a commonly understood language as well as a language most commonly used in church. Some of his works that weren't extremely important to his spirituality, however, were very important to the scholar that he was, were his historical writings, which descriptively detailed previous events he was witness to. His letters were also some of the most important texts that he had written because they showed many sides of him as well as his transformation into priesthood. Many of his early letters consisted of writings of the temptation and sin that surrounded him in his life in Rome. However, the letters began to become more spiritual as he aged, and many of them contained short prayers. O Lord, you have given us your word for a light to shine upon our path. Grant us so to meditate on that word and follow its teaching, that we may find it in the light that shines more and more until the perfect day. After his long journeys, he dedicated himself to a life of priesthood and had a large impact on the church. His correspondence with noted saints and scholars, among them St. Augustine of Hippo, are rich in encouragement and faith. Known for his difficult demeanor and oftentimes hot temper, his scholarly contributions are all the more surprising. Despite these shortcomings, St. Jerome's love for God and his son Jesus Christ was extraordinarily intense. Saint Jerome was a strong-willed man that was willing to do everything in his power to aid and defend the church. He went from a life of temptation and sin to a life of priesthood after discovering his belief in God. His extraordinary education, his travels, and his faith enabled him to write pieces that would forever influence and inspire the church. Many of his prayers show him asking God for guidance, help, and mercy, which reflects his character as a short-tempered yet willful man who would always do anything that he could to please God and make up for previous sins. O Lord, show your mercy to me and gladden my heart. I am like the man on the way to Jericho who was overtaken by robbers, wounded, and left for dead. O good Samaritan, come to my aid. I am like the sheep that went astray. O good shepherd, seek me out and bring me home in accord with your will. Let me dwell in your house all the days of my life and praise you forever and ever with those who are there. Amen. A prayer by Saint Jerome.